Good morning and welcome to ADS Securities Markets Update. Today we'll have a review on last week economic figures in addition to a preview for the figures that we're waiting for the week ahead. Basically, we'll start with the U.S. Economic figures that were released last week. Last week we've seen some surprises, especially from the pending home sales, which declines for the fifth month in October, and also we've seen another economic figures which came in also with worse than expected, basically in the durable goods orders, which came in with a decline of 2%, and the core durable goods order also declines by 0.1%. In addition to that, also for the CB consumer confidence also declines, unexpected declines back to 70.4 in October versus 72.4 in September last week. Also for the week ahead, we will be looking for very key data. Basically, we'll start with Bernanke due to speak tomorrow, or basically on Tuesday, about the Fed challenges, but we're not expecting very much like volatility on this one until there's any hints about Fed tapering or QE tapering for in the decision of in December meeting. On 18th of December we'll be having the FOMC meeting minutes, basically, or the decision meeting. There's no expectation for any kind of like move from the Federal Reserve or any QE tapering for now, so we're basically expecting Bernanke maybe to hint about anything regarding tapering. Also, we'll be waiting for the ISM manufacturing and non-manufacturing PMI for this week, in addition to new home sales and a Q3 prelim GDP, in addition to the most important figures for the U.S. this week is the non-farm payroll, or the U.S. jobs report, which is expected to have like a high impact, in addition to any kind of revision that might be done for the figures that came out in October. Furthermore, in the UK, we've seen the inflation hearings, but the most important things with the hearings came in that the Bank of England decided to cut the lending for the mortgages, or lending for funding for lending for the mortgages, so it's not applicable anymore, which also gave us kind of like a high volatility for the British pound. In addition to that, we've seen the stabilizing in the revised GDP for the Q3, or for the third quarter, at 0.8%. For this week, we'll be waiting for manufacturing PMI, services PMI, in addition to construction PMI, in addition to the MPC decision. The rate is expected, and the rate is expected to remain unchanged, 0.50%. In addition to the asset purchase facility is expected to remain unchanged at £375 billion. In the Eurozone, we've seen but much more, also some surprises from the economic releases, and some changes from the credit rating agencies. Basically, we'll start with the German unemployment change, which came in with another change with plus 10K in October, while it had been anticipated to remain unchanged. Unemployment rate remain also unchanged, but in Italy, unemployment rate continued to rise higher further, especially on a quarterly basis. The Eurozone unemployment rate declined from a record high at 12.2% to 12.1%. But most importantly, we've seen S&P and Moody's credit agencies come in with actions toward some European countries. Basically, we'll start with a downgrade in Netherlands from AAA to AA+. Also, we've seen a lifting in Spain's outlook to stable from negative, but it also have been downgraded. We've seen also another S&P came in with an upgrade for Cyprus credit agency credit rating, in addition also to Moody's at the end of the week. That's basically for the news that came out last week. While for the expected economic figures for this week for the Eurozone, we'll be waiting for the services PMI from Italy, Germany, France, and Spain, in addition to the Eurozone. Also, we'll be waiting for the ECB decisions, which is expected to remain unchanged, rates to be unchanged at 0.25. Sorry, no decision is expected, or any rate cut, especially in the deposit rates, just like what we have seen a few weeks ago from many of the members in the ECB that were talking about an ECB rate cut, especially on a deposit rate. Also, we're waiting for the German factory orders for the month of October is expected also to be released. In Japan, we've never seen like kind of a very big move in the economic releases, but we've seen the inflation figures picking up again. However, we've seen some movements in dollar yen again above 1.02 0.50, but we'll be waiting for the 10-year bond auction during the week. Finally, in Australia, we've seen the private capital expenditure came in with much better than expected, rising by 3.6% in October versus 1.6%. This figures came in with high volatility for a limited time only, while as we've seen many of the banks or the RBA members came in with some dovish remarks regarding the Australian dollar, which led to further decline in Aussie dollar toward 90.50. For this week, we'll be waiting for the RBA decision. The interest rate decision is expected to remain unchanged at 0.50%. Also, we'll be waiting for the retail sales, which is expected to rise by 0.4%. Q3 GDP is expected to rise by to show a growth of 0.7%. And finally, trade balance deficit to narrow back to 0.33 billion from 0.46 billion Australian dollar. So these are the economic releases that came out last week, and also a preview of the week ahead figures. This is it for us from ADS Securities. You can follow us on our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube for more updates, news, and more market reports. Thank you for watching us, and see you next week.